Rob Matthews, Leigh's father, joins us now for more. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Matthews. And once more, our deepest condolences. It's been almost 20 years since the death of your daughter. I can imagine it still can't be easy, especially the manner in which she died. Just talk us through what happened today at the correctional center. Did you actually have to confront or come face to face with Leigh's killer, and what were the procedures that took place?
Yes, it's been a tough day for a lot of people today. In that proceedings, you do sit across the table from your daughter's murderer, and that brings a whole lot of emotions with it. But I must say that the chairman of the Parole board and his fellow members went out of their way to put us at ease and make us feel as comfortable as we could be in that environment. So, you know, I need to give credit where credit is due. They really treated us well. But it was daunting to sit in front of Moodley, to be very honest with you. And in particular with Sharon there, it was daunting.
One can only imagine how painful that must have been for the family. But we know, of course, that as a family you are opposing this bid by Mr. Moodley. Just take us through some of those reasons as to why.
Yes, I think there are a number of reasons. And I guess at the top of the list is one for all citizens of South Africa. 2 years ago, our president spoke about two pandemics that we were facing as a country. The one the world was facing, which was COVID, and the second one was gender-based violence, which we in South Africa have a horrible history of. And his view at that time was to say it should really be impossible for perpetrators of gender-based violence to get parole. And for us as a family, and for so many other people there who are victims of gender-based violence, that has to be a statement that we have to hang on to and make people accountable. You can't make statements like that as a throwaway marketing effort. It has to be real, and I think that's important. The second part, of course, is that there are so many aspects to Leigh's murder that still remain unsolved. And listening today in that parole hearing, Moodley's a consummate liar. And that was borne out and put forward by the judge in his first trial. And he continues to keep on changing his story. Now today we heard another version as to how Leigh was murdered and how he treated her body and how it was handled. And that's like, that can't be remorse in any sense of the imagination. And the other part is that how does one know that if Moodley is let out that he is safe? Would the community at large be happy to have somebody like Moodley living in their midst? I'm not sure, and I don't understand the whole area of psychology, but it does raise a whole lot of questions as to his ability to be rehabilitated and his capacity to reoffend if he gets out. He's a very smooth, well-spoken, convincing individual. And remember the sort of crime that he perpetrated. It was the crime of kidnapping. And what do you do with kidnapping? You have to persuade those involved in the chain that you really mean business, and you have to first of all persuade the victim to be part of it. So he's a very convincing man, and I submit a very dangerous person. So those are the fundamental reasons as to why we are not happy to hear that Moodley gets parole anytime soon.
Now, Mr. Matthews, like you've correctly stated that our president has labelled gender-based violence as a pandemic in this country, and for you and your family to now have to go to a hearing where your child's killer, who served less than 20 years of his sentence, applying for parole, do you think to some extent the justice system itself is failing victims as well as their families? And what do you believe should actually happen in this particular matter for your family?
That is such a good question and so difficult to answer because, unfortunately, in South Africa, not all families are equal. And our experience compared to somebody in a very different station of life is probably going to have a very different experience. And therein lies the tragedy. There should be no differentiation of experience. The experience that we had today was one of a parole board that, as I explained, supportive. They asked very good questions of Moodley. And I would hope and I would love to see that anybody else that comes before a parole board anywhere in the country, because remember, the one in Johannesburg is not the only parole board. This is run on a national basis. I would love and hope to believe that everybody, regardless of your station in life, receives the same attention and support, that they are protected against the offenders and have a victim-centric approach to crime. And if the justice system can get that right, as well as making sure that information that is submitted to the members of the parole board is accurate and that it has been done at the highest possible level, that the best people in the country are making those assessments of criminals, then I think we would be on the right way to making a big difference.
Mr. Matthews, I'm almost out of time, but I do want to ask this question. For you and your family, what do you miss most about Leigh?
Phew, everything. Her laugh, her smile, just her personality. We miss everything about her.
Thank you so much, Mr. Matthews. I can only imagine what you and your family are going through, but we hope that everything turns out for the best. Thank you so much. That was Mr. Rob Matthews, Leigh Matthews' father.